Okay. Are we good? Are we good? I think I fixed it. Let's see. And honestly, I've just never had that issue. And the fix was not really anything very like positive. You know, like it didn't feel like I did anything. All I did was open up the microphone and close it, and that's it. So it's probably just one of those weird things that from changing everything so much. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure. And then the internet died, and I don't know what that was about either. That was really weird. I think that was just like coincidental. Third time's a charm, exactly. Wow. So, how are you guys? How's your Saturday going? Sorry about that. Let's see. So today, hello, Joan. Hi, Noon, Penny, Malin, Tanya, Nicole, Walter, Ray. I know Ray's here somewhere. Thank you so much for bearing with me about that. Things happen. It's just how it is. There's a lot. If you could see the little thing I use, there's a lot of details, and pretty much it works like a charm. We've already sorted out all those issues in the first, year. So this was kind of a weird little thing. I haven't had this one yet. And it is new internet to me, so I'm not sure what that was about. But maybe I have to have my other computer on to have internet. I'm not sure. Because they bypassed my splitter. I'm back. Yeah, thanks, Barbara. Thanks for sticking with me, you guys. So I'm just going to be sewing some things that are unfinished. Some of these things you're going to recognize. One of them you've probably never seen before. It's just a product I had a really long time ago. And I never sold it past a certain point because it was in a book. And so I just felt like, oh, well, people can make their own now, So I never really sold a whole lot of them after the book. Nicole, congratulations. Congratulations. I'm sorry about the appendix, though. Hopefully he's on the mend. Wow. So let's see. So I'm going to be doing some unfinished objects, or FFOs, as Walter has inspired me to call them. Finally finished objects. Sounds like Star Trek. Exactly. Yeah, Melinda. Really? Do you really work in IT support? Oh my gosh. Is that like, do you have like a double whammy of people asking you to do free junk for you all the time because you're a sewist and you work in IT? I can't even imagine. I would hide that from everybody. He's all good? Okay, good. I'm glad. Oof. That's another mysterious thing in appendix. No one knows when it's going to need some attention. Yeah, exactly. And the fix, like, everything looks fine. The microphone's on. I couldn't remember what it looked like when it was muted. So I muted it and unmuted it because I was like, oh, maybe that's what's going on. But it blinks when it's muted. So now I'll remember that. But all the cords were connected. It's like lit up, which is great. I can tell. So, hey, Serena. Who else haven't I said hi to? Penny, thanks for telling chat if they were just joining what was going on. Yeah, all I did was open the Yeti and close it. And that's all I did. I didn't do anything to it. I don't know why it decided to do it. It's never done that before. The other thing that happened when I was not streaming was this computer wasn't hooked up to the internet both of my computers weren't hooked up to the internet for like more than 2 weeks. And Windows had so many updates. I'm like, what the heck? Why do you need all these updates? And sometimes those updates will really mess with the stream because they implement privacy controls for screen capture or video or things like that. And I feel like I have all those turned off now because we've had that problem too. Like all of a sudden I was like, what? So anyway. All right. So the 3 things I have a lot of one of them, and it's just some bins. You've seen me probably make one of these. I think I made one of these in the video. But these are all the ones. Oh, it's a little bright, huh? We were fixing that. And then you said, we can't hear you. I'm still getting used to my lighting here. I have a lot more lighting here. Oops, sorry. It's that way. That's better, huh? I have a lot more lighting here because there's 3 windows, and thankfully that I'll never have direct sunlight. But it does make a shadow, and I only have 2 overhead lights, which is kind of a pain because it always casts a shadow when I'm gonna take a picture. I mean, I'm not known for my photography, but I don't need other things kind of working against me. And then I came up with a schedule that I will post on the community tab here on YouTube, and I posted it on Instagram last night. So for the remainder of March, next week, I'm going to sew the Decades of Style 1940s New England dress, and this project was sponsored by Hearts and Decades of Style. So this will be really fun, and we have a fun stripe fabric to use. I'm kind of interested on this one because I just love this era of sewing because it's so unique. And if you do this kind of really unique sewing now, I feel like it's got this it's just too unique for some, it just looks home sewn. This won't. So they had a really great way of adding these extremely unique details without it being I don't know what the word is, just I don't know, distracting. Yeah, you like the natural light? It's kind of like me. I look, yeah, whatever. Yeah, this is what you get. And the other thing I'm going to make is this Annie cardigan by Mimi G. I got it in her newsletter, so it was free, which was really nice. So I went and downloaded it. And I'm going to do that. The last day of March, I'm going to cut it out. And I feel like it's only a part 1 sewing, but maybe we'll make it part 2. I also think, like, remember Kathleen saying, what could we make that shorter? And I really liked the way it looked shorter, This could be unisex. I have some really big issues with calling clothes unisex. I don't have problems with gender neutral. Like that, I am fully behind. But unisex sizing is that it just means it fits everybody kind of mediocre, I feel like it's just like got to be custom. Everything we sew is custom, and that's just the best way to do it, right? It's not gender or sex specific. It's fit specific, so but I do feel like this could be a more like a gender neutral pattern. Maybe that's what I should say. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. And this is knit. I hope this is knit. This is what I was planning. So that I'm going to do those 2. So that's the rest of March and the beginning of April. And then in April, I'll come out with a schedule for that really soon. So, okay, where am I going to put these so I don't lose them? I'm going to put this under there, and I probably will lose them there. But are you guys going to sew with me today? Or are you just hanging out sewing or whatever? It's because my office is so small. It's not even so small. Like, it's just smaller than I've had in a really long time because I had such a big space because of the factory. It was a little forgiving if I let some of the unfinished projects pile up. And I'm actually a finisher. Like, I love keeping that kind of thing, like, down low, like those, like, things in progress. But I will say, like, that being said, I never have 0 things going, except in knitting. I only had 3 projects going at the most at once, and any more than that, I'm like, I get a little stressed out. Oh, let's put this back on. Let's put this on live chat. I've had to change my chat a billion times because we went live 3 times. So if you're new here, that's a good thing to do is put the chat at the top of the chat window. It says live chat and top chat. Put it to live chat. You were gonna quilt today? Barbara, was it you that gave me the tip of cutting up one of my jelly roll quilt tops and rearranging it kind of, or adding angles? Because I am pleased to tell you that is one of the unfinished objects I did this week. I made Loki and I a little lap quilt with that really ugly jelly roll quilt top I made. Remember, because I was just like, this thing's just ugly. The jelly roll, adorable, loved it, sewed it all together, and I was like, what is going on here? This does not work. And so I took some Essex, because Essex yarn dyed linen, I love that stuff. It's like my go-to neutral for everything. and I kind of squared up the piece. I cut it into 6 equal shapes, and they were rectangles, and then I used Essex to square them up, so they were like strips on like one side, which made the stripes of the, yeah. It wasn't Barbara? Okay, maybe it was Beverly, because I'm always getting you two confused, even though I know what both of you look like. I know what one of you sounds like, and I still get you confused, and I'm really sorry about that. So I think you're used to me apologizing for that. You're to sew a dog dress for your niece's dog's birthday. Oh, you're knitting a summer top, Tanya? That's awesome. You're cutting out some basics today, Malin. Tees and undies and tank tops. Oh, I need to do that. Hi, Ray. One more time. Last time today, you have to say hi. Let's say hi to other people. So, yeah. Yeah, so I just really want to keep that, like, this was a great opportunity to see exactly all my unfinished objects, which I thought I knew of. And I found a couple of things, and I found this jewelry case. So, really, Ray? They dyed it? Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm sorry, Barbara. So, why is my phone still on? So this is the bins. I was trying to take a picture earlier. Oh, here they are right here. So I had to get some stuff out of my way. I'm going to do these last because I have so many of those that I'll probably do maybe one or something and then end stream so you don't have to sit there and watch me sew those. It's really hard to roll my chair on this rug. I put a really thick carpet pad underneath. So let me show you. So I have this pocket bucket that only needed its ends. Oh, I need vinyl pockets. I forgot about that. Shoot. And I ran out of this sweater fabric. So I just never finished this one. I don't know what happened to this one. I know actually probably what happened to this. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this gentle curve? I don't know if you can see it. Maybe compared to this, you'll see it. So if I put this in straight, can you see this curve? I don't know why, but when I sew these sometimes, and same with Rayanne, we would sometimes get this little curve. And this one was just a little too much for my liking, so I probably pulled it aside as a second. And we were going to just finish it up and sell it as a second. Well, it never got done. And I'm still sitting here with it. So I'm just going to I have some of this colorway. And I still have the dot. So that's how I'm fixing this. Oh, you were right. Well, someone sent me a Pinterest link. Ray. I swore it was Barbara, but maybe it was Beverly. Yes, Helen, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to go live 3 times today. Oh, you just mean like finally. Well, I've been moving, so you haven't missed anything. And I just went live a couple days ago for the first time. You've hemmed pants for your sister this morning. You have a nightgown cut out for the granddaughter. That's nice, Eliza. That's a lot. Yeah, she doesn't have class today. You're one day off this week. Who is making? Is it Joan's making? Yeah, the dog dress. So Joan, I don't know if you were here, but I didn't do these on camera because they were a Christmas surprise. But my niece wanted clothes for her little baby deer stuffy. So I made, and I can't remember, what's the deer's name? If you were to buy it online, it's called Whisper, but that's not its name. And so I made a bunch of clothes for the little deer for Christmas, and that was like her favorite thing. That was so funny. I was like, I hope these work. I don't know. Yeah, this fabric is really cute. All right, so I need vinyl pockets for that. So obviously that needed one more thing. But I'm going to do these probably first. I think this is probably the more interesting thing I'll sew today because I'm going to be sewing the zipper on. So this was a jewelry case, a travel jewelry case that I used to make and sell. And you can put I have a funny story about this, but I have to put this back on. You can put little things in the zippered pocket, and in here, this is where you would hang your necklaces or anything longer and with a chain. You could hang it there and then drop them into this pocket. And then this was for earrings, and you could clip earrings on here or put them through holes or You know, I didn't wear earrings, so I would use like enamel pins or say bobby pins on here, and then like a ring in here. And so then it zips shut like this, like that. I need to pick out some binding. But the funny story I have about these is, do you guys remember me saying that this was me and Rayanne's, this was our currency? Some people it's fabric. For us, it was zipper sliders, because these little buggers were the bane of our existence. We would have tons of the zipper coil, but these come from Japan, and they would get stuck in the harbor in San Francisco when they had strikes there, and we would be desperate for these. And so we started stealing them off products we weren't finishing and selling, and these all were missing their sliders. That all got sorted eventually. I used to buy them from another factory. I'd be like, can I please have like 100? Which would literally last us like a week and a half, you know? So let's see if I can get this on here. It's really awkward. That's why I did that little face, because this is such an awkward spot to put that on. All right. All these were missing that. Oh, yeah. How is your hand doing, Barbara? You know, Joan, when you have to do something, but then you're not doing it, I feel like it's like that whole thing. I heard someone talk about eating calories once. And they said, if you're craving a brownie, and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to have a brownie. I'm going to be good. I'm going to have this other little low calorie thing. And then you're still craving the brownie. And then you have another little thing, and that still doesn't satisfy the brownie craving. And then you're just like, dang it, I'm just gonna eat the brownie. And that's what they say. Like, if it's that kind of craving, you should just eat the brownie. Just do it, right? And that's how I feel about tasks like that. Like when you have to do something, but you're just kind of not, and you just can't, and you know it, and you can't pull yourself away. I feel like you should just do the thing, because then you feel better, and then you're kind of ready to do the grading later, Oh, block of the month. Which block of the month are you doing? I see a few people doing things like that. Yeah, I know, Ray. I know it wasn't you. Yeah, Helen. Oh, first bike ride of the year. Nice. Where are you at, Helen? What part of the world are you in? Okay. I realize I need some binding. Took me a while to figure out fabric. So this is cut up napkin. But I bought a bunch of napkins because the fabric was so cute. And pre-washed it and all. I have this old home decorator one for this chicken one. I had to find fabric for the outer for all of these. There's only 5. I used cats for this black and white one. It took me a long time to pick these out. And then I could not find the butterfly fabric that went with this one. What do you guys think of that? You think that works? The dandelions. I love dandelions. Let me see how it looks on the computer. I think that'll work out okay. Oh, cool. A little local one. Hey, Patty, how's it going? Oh, nice. So that'll be a beautiful bike ride. That sounds great. Oh, man, Barbara, I can't imagine. Okay, let's find some binding real quick here. Maybe I have all the bindings I've already used. Let's see. No. I have this. This. Okay, I'm going to use this one for that. This one. That'll work, right? I don't have any more of this amazing fabric. I think this one. I don't know about this one. I like the way this looks with this, but I'm not sure if I can. And then this is for the. Oh yeah, Helen, instead of like doing the whole pretty bow thing. Let me get a couple pieces of vinyl. Just setting up my little rotary mat here. Oh, 2 blocks the month. That sounds so manageable until you go to do it, and then you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, nice, Penny. Do you like it kind of sweet or tangy for your sloppy joe? Yeah. Instead of, wait, through a pocket, my hands certainly prefer it. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Let me cut these pockets out. I'm remembering to move my microphone. This one likes to drift a little bit. Yeah, I like that napkin fabric too. You know, it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, do I want to use this for this project? And then when you say that for like a bunch of projects, you know that eventually you got to kind of just, you know, use it, right? This vinyl might be not good enough. Oh, wait, maybe I can do it. Okay. I just need 2 of these and that's it. And then we can finish the pocket bucket. I think the other unfinished project I have that you guys might... Did I just throw those? What the heck happened to those? Oh my gosh. I literally just lost those. Oh, they're still attached. Okay. The other thing I have that you guys might be interested in is some kids' pajamas. I think I have found a free pattern from 5 out of 4 patterns, which, has anyone sewn anything from them? So remember my whole debacle with the cozy slippers not fitting? So I'm trying to make it up to my niece and nephew with making them pajamas. Am I overcompensating? a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to get this out of the way first because it'll be the quickest one to get done. What recipe? Oh, America's Test Kitchen. Yeah, those are really good recipes. That's Cooks Illustrated, right? Oh, yes, Helen. I see what you're saying. Hi, Louise. Nice seeing you. Yeah, so I know what you mean, Helen. I mean, it's kind of why I bound my bags to begin with, because I wanted them to have some... Oh, that's kind of a problem, huh? Oh, no, this is the piece I just cut. Well, shoot. I can see the line of my rotary knife. That rotary mat sometimes isn't as positive on the wool felt, you know? But yeah, I didn't want my bags to be kind of loose, like the lining to be loose. I wanted it to be smooth and clinging against the bag. And so that's partly why I did that too, because I didn't want the contents to get hung up on the lining. So yeah. Sister puts cheese on Sloppy Joe's. That sounds pretty good. Oh, look at the... You guys can't see it. I need to take this off. This is such a bad example. So I made this little quilt. Like I said, I finished a quilt the other day. And I was kind of determined. And then I quilted it. And I was like, you know what? The easiest way to do this is if I had a guide. So I took the guide off of my home sewing machine and I taped it to my industrial. So I need Terry to tell me where she goes to get attachments, or maybe Adina, because I think it's time I start exploring the attachment world of my Juki now that I'm doing it for home sewing and not for the factory. So I get some more interchangeable attachments. Exactly, birthing. Yeah, that is actually a good term for that. It does feel like, I mean, my hands definitely got fatigued. So. Oh, really, Nicole? Oh, okay, cool. And did you make them for you or the kids? Because I saw there's patterns for both. Cheese embargo. That's awesome. Okay. There was just an interesting question in the Beatrice Forms community, which anyone can be a part of, by the way, if you're interested. I think you get more out of it if you have a dress form because some of the content's directed at that, but it's actually not directed at draping per se, but more out of how to get the most out of your, custom designing experience. Is that really what I want to say? I'm not sure. But anyway, the question recently was, why am I nervous? Was, do you consider yourself a fashion designer? And I don't. But I think I do mean, I think I know what they're talking about and like what they mean. Do you see this little, is this because my plate's cold? That's because it's cold, right? Can you see that? You can't see that. There's like it's like frosty around the eyes and the mouth. Who said that this looks like a mouth? This one and this one here. You can't see this one. This is like, I have not ever not looked at this as a mouth now. Since you said that, I never noticed it in the years and years and years of using the Juki. And this one has a mouth too. See it? Eyes and a mouth. And then this one. Somebody's watching me. That's what it feels like. Okay, Nicole. Well, I saw that it got good reviews. I have to admit, I feel like making it up to my niece and nephew for the slippers, which was a free pattern, by making them pajamas with a free pattern, I feel a little bit like I'm taking a risk. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, maybe I should like find something. Took me forever to find a cozy fabric for the interior of the slipper, and it still did not end up being 4-way stretch. You can't see it, right? Maybe when I pulled the camera down, you could. The chat delay is pretty big. Yeah, like I feel like I could draw like eyebrows over each eye here. Little sewing spirit friends. Hi, Elizabeth. The faces are everywhere. I know. I can't remember who mentioned that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, oh, yeah, I can see it. I incidentally never use this to get in there. You see this right here? This is, can you see that? That is what helps. It's like a puff of air. Helps the whole like auto thing. Yeah, right, Joan? I think like around each of these eyes in the mouth, it's a little discolored, and same with the perimeter. And I think it's because it's cold. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't oil. I don't use my machine like I used to, and so sometimes oil, it's very, very hard to see it and feel it sometimes. It's kind of there. Oil can be like such a thin layer, you know? All right, so let's put on, if anyone wants tips on doing this, if you've got this pattern and you want sewing tips on it, please chime in. I'm not being very instructional right now because I feel like you guys have all seen me sew this enough, and a lot of you probably don't have this pattern. So, oh yeah, you can't see this something from the cold. Yeah, I don't think you can see that. It's so subtle. Yeah. This is what people would say is the hardest step of this pattern. Mainly because it is kind of like a heavy duty, you're really woman handling or man handling your bag while you sew it. And if your machine is a little like not as good at handling really heavy duty stuff, then you have that to worry about as well. So it can be a little bit much for some machines. Whoops. No, I don't want to go that far. I do back tack on these because I'm about to pull right here. Poop. I've been talking a lot with my friend Kirby about webbing because she's been kind of interviewing some new materials for her bags. And one of her materials she was going to use as a strap isn't working out, and she really wants it to, I think. And I don't have familiarity with the fabric she's using or the material. But I will say, if you're ever using webbing, if you see that, can you see I left like a whole inch is hanging down in here? That is from my experience. If you're dealing with webbing, you should allow a lot in there because it unravels. Webbing is very, very weak. It's really strong, but it's really weak at the ends, and it just unravels like a Dickens, you know? You can just go on and on. It unravels like that. Hi, Nancy. And so I also double stitch it. I do 2 rows, and I also stitch it, you know, like through the fabric, through the webbing like this. So if the webbing is actually sewn on the bag like this, that's fine if you're stitching around it. Just don't do it once and expect that to hold. It won't. You really have to give webbing like a good pair of shoes. That's the way I like to look at it. It needs a good foundation, and then it's completely fine. I carry a pocket bucket every day, and at any given moment, there's 5 to 20 pounds of junk in that thing because I'll carry like a hard drive, cameras, fabric, my lunch, 2 cling canteens, which are metal, and it gets really heavy, and it's totally fine. Like, there's no wear on it. I don't melt. I don't melt because we did so much of it that the smell of that can be really irritating. And it doesn't matter if you're securing it that way. But yeah, I think you can get away with a lot less securing if you do melt it. Or get a hot knife. And then you can cut it with a hot knife, and then that way it sears it. So you're not having to use a match and burn it. With the fumes aren't as bad, I don't think. Those hot knives, you can get them used. I've seen them. And I think it's kind of like, I want to say it's like a paper cutter, shunk. But it's a little small version, so you slide up your webbing and with the hot knife. You can see, like that just unravels. I learned a lot of that the hard way. And I also worked places where I saw how they finished it, and that's what they do. They melt it, they cut it with a hot knife, but they also secure it. Because the stuff they were sewing was so abused. Well, not abused, but that's just how it was, what it was for. If you're, especially when you're talking about a PFD, what's a PFD called? A life jacket. So we made life jackets, and life jackets are a specific type of garment that is inspected by a third party to make sure that everything is good, because it's a life-saving device. So you know how like your light bulbs in the States, your light bulbs have a UL in the middle of them? That's it. It's United Laboratories, and they come out and they inspect it. And so, with a life jacket in particular, for a that's what they call a PFD, which is a personal flotation device. All these terminologies. It was funny because when I was interviewing there, which I didn't know I was interviewing there, they kept saying PFD, and I was like, I didn't know I was interviewing for a job, so I was actually feeling really relaxed. I wasn't really feeling like I had to, look competent or anything. I was not looking for a job at this place. They were kind of trying to interest me in wanting to work there. They weren't like flat out wooing me, but they really wanted me to want to work there. And I finally just started looking puzzled. He looked at me, he's like, "You're from the fashion industry, so you don't know what PFD means. You think it means prepare for die, don't you?" It was really funny. I was like, "Oh yeah, what does it mean then?" I couldn't even come up with anything that worked for PFD. I was so jaded by that term. Anything, Ray, that will unravel and that it's synthetic. So you can use it for cording, the zipper pull, that little nylon cord. They used it for that. And I'm trying to think. Oh, for foam. Yeah, the fumes. That's why I didn't melt. Hello, Derek. Thank you for the weather report. We count on this. Derek, I know I follow a gal on Instagram who lives in England, and she's doing a temperature thing. Like Malin has done a temperature scarf. You're kind of our temperature scarf. Each time you're in here, you're a different color. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, let me put these pockets on here. Yeah, so what else could you use a hot knife for? That was all outerwear stuff, but they use it in the fashion world too. There's definitely no shortage of small machinery that melts things, like plastic bags and things like that. Clothing bags. I'm just looking for any bubbles, because I always get a bubble right here. I think I felt it. Yeah, there it is right here. Do you see it? Can you see it a little bit? There's my trademark. Me and Rayanne could always tell who sewed something because of our weird little things we did. It's kind of funny. I'm a Polar. She is not. And where she had worked before she came to me was a place that made stuffed animals and applique things. And so she was used to 1/8-inch seam allowances. Everybody else I've ever come across is like 1/4-inch seam allowances. That's too small. And she was like, 1/4-inch? That seems so luxurious. I was like, oh yeah, you definitely came from a different industry. It was really funny. Double the amount. Can you imagine you always sew things at 5/8 and you go somewhere and they sew at 1 1/4-inch seam allowance? That's how it felt for her. Yeah, Helen, that's exactly this gal. She's in Edinburgh. You're right. She's in Scotland, not in England. I really feel bad that I said she's from England. It's the gal who started the Sew Over 50 account, Judith Roslin. I saw she was like, ooh, we get a new color. It's been so warm and nice. It was only 7 degrees Celsius. Wow, Floppy. I don't know what that is. I have to admit. I sometimes get kind of in a groove where I'm really good at converting because I talk to a lot of people around the world in other chats. Today, I am not of that mindset. So I'm pushing my vinyl pocket away from the edge. These right here, these. See how this vinyl pocket pushes? So right now my finger's doing this underneath there. Pretty aggressively. It's not going to sneak in there at this point, but I'm paranoid. Because you just ruin the whole bag if it does. One more. Come on, one more. No, that's about right. And I really, really smashed my bag. I'm kind of lining it up with the seam where my needle is. Woo! Okay. I knew I should have changed my needle. Oh, there you go. 45 degrees. Oh, that's not bad. That's not too cold, is it? Okay, but can we find the other pieces of the needle? I hope so. I wasn't sure if I had a 16 in there, and I should have checked. I knew to, and I just forgot. Let's see. Where's my air? I think it's right here. Oh man, I feel like a big old success that I got all the way throughout my whole move, and I still have the straw that goes to my air can. Oh, but the air can broke. That's right. Oh well. I have another one. Okay. All right, I take this thing off, right? Yeah. That other air can is almost brand new, but this whole cap got just crushed. I'll clean this all out. I don't want that oil. So where is that other piece of needle? I didn't see it. Hello, Allison. Hey, Una, how's it going? I just broke a needle, so I'm just fixing it. You're only 30 miles south of Edinburgh? Oh. I love Edinburgh. I'm guessing the number of jelly beans in a jar is fair. Yeah. I think it's really funny when someone says, "Oh, what's the weather like where you're at?" And then I say, "Oh, it's like 110 this, because they know it's hot where we are." And then they're like, the sheer panic on their face. I'm like, "That's Fahrenheit." They're like, "Okay, still, that's really hot." I'm like, "It is really hot, but yeah." I just want to look. I want to see if I can see any more of that needle. Usually you can find it. Let me just get this threaded a little bit. Okay, just making sure. And I lost the needle that I had sitting here like a dummy that I should never set there. Don't sew in front of a camera, kids. It's like a whole nother experience. Oh, twins! That's awesome. Which one, Joan? What pattern? Oh, for the doggy dress? Do you guys see the needle? Where did it go? Here, I found it. Can't believe I just found that. It was about to fall into a hole and be forever gone. So wait, there's no minimal direction on which I sleeves face and how to pleat the skirt. If they don't really have instructions, then the sleeve is probably symmetrical, which is, we all know how we feel about that. Yeah, thank you, Helen. I found it. It was about to go into the hole where all the cords go down below the machine. I'm gonna look the bag over for making sure that it. I think the last time I was sewing, I thought I saw something out the window, what was the quilt? So yeah, it definitely needed to be changed. I don't think I have I kind of want the eye facing a little bit more forward. There we go. It's kind of hard to see if you have it, because mine threads left to right. It's kind of hard sometimes to see if you have it perfectly straight, and this will happen. Yeah. All right. Let's sew a little bit and not flinch. Looks okay. All right. Now let's go to the offender. I don't feel anything there. Are you all gonna flinch while I do this? Don't look. Oh, this is partly it. I released the pressure of my presser foot because of the quilt. That's probably what happened. Because what happens then is it'll shift a little too much, when I move it. And that'll bend the needle. You pull the needle a little too much and it bends. Gets misaligned. Plus it was probably a little dull. We all good. You gotta get back on that horse and ride. Oh, that's great, Tanya. Yeah. I honestly just love the way that seam finish it's just great on a lot of fronts, I find. And I kind of wish that I used it more often. I was just using my big scissors over here. I was just looking at that because my Scout tee, I don't know if you guys remember when I made that Scout tee, and I used this really sheer fabric from Hearts with flowers on it. And so I had to line the bottom of it, so I made like a yoke I did French seams on that, and they just look so nice because it's such a, the sleeves are sheer and the yoke is sheer, but the French seams really make it feel less delicate. Like I feel like I'm not worried I'm gonna hurt it too. It kind of gives that structure without too much bulk. I got the new Helen's Closet pattern yesterday. The March dress? That's what it's called, right? Did anybody see that? She sent it to me, so I was like, oh, okay. I like one of the tops. It's very versatile. There's a lot of versions you can do with it. No flinching, no flinching. Always mashing. Keeping my fingers clear. Stop there and pivot. It's a little early. There we go. I feel like my pressure is still a little loose, but I tightened it more than it was before. Oh yeah, I pivoted way too early. Well, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the sleeves, Malin, or the ruffle below the waist seam, but I like that one. I like the lines in the sketch. So I was thinking a cap sleeve with that top that has all the seams, but it's flat, not a ruffle hem. You know what I mean? Okay. Always inspect, make sure my strap isn't twisted, because there's no coming back from that once you're done. I actually used to think that you couldn't twist the strap on this bag, and I sewed it for a few years thinking that I couldn't twist this strap. I just thought, oh, this piece is flat, it's sewn to this flat thing, it can't get twisted. Now, like, the fact that I thought that is crazy to me. But when you like that step where I'm putting it together and it's all flat on the table, it just seems like, oh, you know, I know I can twist it at this stage, but when I'm attaching the strap to here and didn't feel like I could get it twisted, that's where it was. And so I was just getting lucky for years that I wasn't checking and I was sewing it correctly. And one time it finally happened and I was like, what happened here? This isn't possible. It can't get twisted. And I realized, wow, I've just been getting lucky all these years. I couldn't believe that. And it was just at the stage where you're attaching the webbing to it. And I just thought, oh, these two pieces are flat. They're not attached to anything yet. They can't get twisted. Oh, yeah, they can. All right, let's see. Everything looks okay. Then we'll do some jewelry cases. Oh, wow. You're expecting a student teacher? Like, are you hosting one, Derek? Or is this at the school you work at or something? So yesterday I signed up for an Amazon affiliate program. So I'm going to start being able to show you exactly the tools that I use. And if you use my link, I get like a little bit, not much. But it's just one more way to add to the overhead, right? What you have to tell yourself if you just broke a needle is there were reasons for that, and those reasons are not present right now. You know, the needle was probably bent and dull. I change my needle pretty often too. But doing I quilted a whole quilt that was, this machine is also not as good as my other one with the thicknesses because I didn't have it calibrated for just doing this kind of sewing where my other one was. This one's a little bit under that. Still works really good. Yeah, that little quilt's probably like, I want to say like 6 feet by 4 feet. Yeah, for me, I think that the waist ruffle looks really cute, but on me, it's very maternity looking for some reason. Oh, wow, Helen. Yeah. Oh, it's okay, Tanya. Don't worry about it. Which kind did you get? Did you get the kind, the like wire one, or did you get that set with all the tubes? I should send that set to my friend Kirby because she was trying to turn something yesterday because I can't figure out how to use it. I heard a noise. I still have not met a single other person here. My husband keeps asking me, and I was like, babe, you're going to know when I've met someone here because it's going to scare the ever-loving crap out of me. Like, I'm going to tell you, oh my God, I met someone. I'm starting to actually get really comfortable that I'm the only one here, which is not good because then when they show up to their office, I'm going to be like, oh, who are you? You know? Oh, neat, Derek. All right, almost done. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Okay. I've been noticing more and more people have like communities that you pay to be a part of, sewing communities. Is anyone in any of those? Like, I know the Beatrice one is a paid one. And all of us that were in there already are just grandfathered in for now. But like Seamwork, right? I was just thinking, like, I think that's like it's such a great thing, but it's kind of like there's so many now. I'm starting to feel a little like overwhelmed by how many there are, and it's kind of like everything I need to run a business or a stream or whatever is now becoming subscription-based payment. So it's like everything's $15 a month, and there's so many of those, and it's like, okay, I need to like watch that, you know. All right, I don't mind the two-tone. What do you guys think? The two-tone. Maybe I should have placed these sweaters a little better But I wanted as many as possible. It doesn't bug me. And the inside is all the same. That's actually kind of cute. Cool. All right, let's do some zipper cases. I haven't done one of these in a long time, so I may be a little rusty. Yeah, Tanya, you got the wire one? Cool. Yeah, I like that one. And that's only the second one I've ever had. The one I got like issued to me in college, which was identical, it lasted me almost 15 years or more. Maybe even 20 years. Like a long time. And then one day the little like thing that goes up and down, the little latch, was just missing. And I couldn't be too disappointed because I had used it for so long. And I probably used this one. These were me and Rayanne's. That's why I have two. I've probably used those for 6 years. All right, let's try this out. I picked this binding. Let's see what we think of it. I made this binding for a project, and afterward I was like, did I think I was binding the world? Like, look at how much binding I made. I wish I had some of this fabric left, you know? Let me use this binder for a while. Okay, so this is, look at this is my old chicken boots tag that I used to print in my printer. Look at it, even has my Etsy site on it. Ooh, I feel kind of like I should probably change that. Shoot. Hey, thank you. The sewing trolley dolly. Thank you for the welcome back. It's good to be back. So I thought I'd just keep it kind of simple today and just sew some unfinished things, you know? We all have some of those. Right, Walter? Walter inspired me. He's like, I'm not buying anything till all my projects are done. And now I feel like I've always been really good about it, and now I'm kind of like, well, I need the space now, you know, like I want to make sure I manage it so it doesn't get away from me. Shoot, this was sewn in twice. Great. Okay. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I used to make, when I first started out, you know, I've actually, just to back up, I've actually been listening to the latest Love to Sew podcast on Nikki and Mallory, Treasure Mallory, and she makes leather bags by hand. And I can relate to her so much. Like, she's like, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to learn everything about it, and I'm going to do everything myself surrounding it. And that is me. Like, I have to kind of understand it all. And probably when you go to like small business counseling, they immediately assume if you're a business owner, you're a control freak and you can't let any aspect of your business go when it starts growing to other people so that they can manage that while you do the important stuff, right? And I definitely have a little bit of that, but there were certain things that I was happy to hire Rayanne and empower her to take some of those things over. And yeah, it was a growth experience for me, but I was happy to have it, you know? And so I can really relate to Treasure saying like, well, you know, and especially because you can't afford anything at first, so you have to do it yourself. It's cheaper that way. Like, time is money, but at the same time, if you don't have the dollars in your bank account to actually pay someone to do it, it's just cheaper to do it yourself, right? So I totally relate to how she started her business and maintained it and learned all these things. And I love that with leather, she kind of chose that because she's like, I need this bag business. It just needs to be like better. Like, I want to make it a better product. And I felt that so hard towards the like halfway through chicken boots, but I didn't want to go the leather route. So, but I feel like that is the way to go if you want a really top tier product. And I always felt a little bit like, she's like eclectic. My stuff was very eclectic in the beginning with lots of fabric choices. I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. So your cabin crew by Trey. Oh, cool. Oh, wow. So you're just trying to stay busy now sewing trolley? Fabric strip, Brenda. Oh, this. You mean my all? This, I'm going to have an affiliate link for this because this is the all I use for everything. You can see mine's pretty well loved. It's kind of yellowed. But it's a clover tapered tailor's all. And those two words, tapered tailors, are important for getting this style of all. There's a tailor's all and a curved all. And I've never used the curved one. It might be really great, but the other one's a little too sharp. Yeah. It might even be a command in the chat, but our commands have been kind of loosey-goosey lately and not working all the time. So yeah, this is what I use. You're going to see me use it a lot when I put the zipper on this case in a second, once I stop jabbering. And I use it like a pointy finger. I can get really close to the needle. Because binding is stretchy, you can just grab it and pull it and it doesn't hurt the fabric. That really sharp one though, my problem with it is it works really great, and if it works for you, that's great. I say work, do whatever. I used to always use a seam ripper, but the problem with the seam ripper is that this is a blade and that will cut your fabric, and because of this little like inconsistent thickness here, because this is consistent all the way around, right? Because of that, and it's a little flat, your needle can hit this so much easier than if your needle hits this. I've never, that I know of, hit my awl with the needle, and if I have, it probably glides right off because it's nice and smooth. And so with the other longer, sharper one, the tailor's awl, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, my problem is that there's not enough resistance with the awl, and so it goes straight through, and it kind of goes too far, and it pokes me, and I get hurt. This one it's sharp for sure, and I punch holes with it, and this is what I originally had it for, was pattern drafting. But this kind of is like just a way to grab things. So anyway, this is how I used to do. This is like reminds me of Treasure because I used to make my own labels. Yeah, there you go. It works. Yeah, so that's it. It's a taper tailor's awl. So I used to make my own labels using June Taylor inkjet printer sheets, and I'd buy them 10 per package. That's like the most you can buy, and then I would buy 10 packages, but I could get 30 labels per page, so 300 labels in a package, and that is still cheaper than buying when I used to buy woven labels, my chicken boots one, which looked a lot like this, like what I wrote on there, but it was all woven, and it had my real website once I graduated from Etsy. And then I printed it. I also fused it to muslin. So this is muslin on the back, a white muslin, a bleached muslin. And then I used my narrow serger to serge both edges. When I didn't do that, the little threads would kind of fly off like this, and it looked messy. And this didn't bug anybody. I can even see a little faint line. So I had a line that I cut them with a rotary knife. So I would fuse the whole sheet, cut them out, serge them in rows of 3, then cut them apart. So, and then eventually time became more important than saving how much I was saving on the label. And I started ordering them. But you got to get to a point where you actually want 5,000 of a label. And that's a lot of labels. So, I'm just going to get rid of this so I don't get anybody, if I even sell these, I don't get anybody saying, wait, your Etsy is not your Etsy anymore. So, I'll do one more of these and then I'll start sewing. It's this side right here. Okay. I should do one on the other fabric so I can get more than one fabric done. This is what's fun about doing the UFOs, because there's so many little details that come up, I think the all also is really good for putting in zippers. You can get really close, you know. I just need one thread. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's put this in. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're alone in that. And there's been a lot of new sewists this year, and I think that's awesome. Yeah, what are you into? Have you decided what you like to sew? Because I think a lot of people start with something, and then maybe they do that still. Like, okay, I've always wanted a dress or whatever, or a cover for my coffee maker, you know? And then they decide, like, but I really like making, you know, clothes for stuffed animals. Or they realize they're really good at some things better than others. I'm just going to tack this on here. I didn't used to. And just to give myself a kind of a little helping hand since I haven't done one of these in so long. All right, I need a zipper pull. I picked black, but maybe I should have picked cream. Well, there's a lot of black on this one. All right, is this the center? You never know. This is the center right there. Yeah, roughly. Okay. So if you've ever done a zipper case, this is the way I do it with it not... The end of the zipper is going to hang below the case. Bye, Louise. Nice seeing you. Have a good dinner. Yeah. So this will have a little hangy downy tail of your zipper. And while it's not the kind that's like neatly flush with the case, the good thing about that is you have something to hold while you open and close your zipper. Much closer, Tanya. Much, much closer. All right, so when I do this, I angle my zipper. So this is the zipper face up. You can't really see. I'm using Zipper by the Yard. Can you even see that? Do you want me to brighten this up a little bit? Let's bring this down a little bit. Walter likes it when it's like this, right? Isn't that you, Walter? So you can see there's the coil facing up. This is the right side of the zipper. And I kind of angle it up, but I'm gonna start my fabric over here. I'm just gonna get it going. This right here is the center. About right here is the center of the case going this way. I'm not going to put the zipper to the center. I'm going to put it like 3/4 inch away or so. And now I'm on the zipper. And I'm going to pull it over. And now I'm going to line it up with the edge. And just keep it lined up. I like to gently turn the corners. I used to, when I was new at this, pivot at the corner. I'm kind of going really slow right now and kind of rounding the corner. It kind of gives the case a nicer finish. I gently pull my binding as I go. I don't pin any of this in. I don't do the zipper first and then the binding, because that is kind of a recipe for setting yourself up to not getting things lined up on your, when you do the binding and then some of your stitching showing. So, especially if you're not using matching thread to your zipper, which I'm not. So, yeah, you're welcome, Brenda. Yeah, I find them really helpful. You'll see me use it a lot in a second. Same thing, I'm going to kind of round this corner. There's some threads right here. I'm going to pull those towards the seam allowance so it looks tidy. There we go. I'm going to open this up, get it out of the way. Gently pull my binding a little bit. Just 2 angled stitches. 2 is enough to round that corner. I don't have to know exactly where the middle of my zipper is either when I do it this way, because I'm going to even it up at the end. This was probably a little too far there. Let's see. I kind of want this to be about right there. So let's Let's pull up some of this right here. I forgot about that. I need my zipper to come back right here, so pulling this much. Let's pull it back a little bit. My little start. Let's do it about right there. That way I can get my zipper to go off of this case about the same amount from the center. Like I said, I'm kind of out of practice. All right. Get all my edges in there. And then I just go line up my binding to this folded back edge. That's it. I don't even backstitch. I don't need to quite yet because I'm going to finish this all. Oh, you do, Walter? Yeah, I find that too. That's funny. All right, now I'm just going to trim all this off. Someone better than me wouldn't have all of this excess, but these have also been bouncing around my studio for a while, and I didn't use a pattern piece to cut the outer fabric. I just kind of laid it on here to make sure it would be fine. So I'm just trimming this to the width of the binding. You don't want to cut off your corners right here, because what'll happen is when you go to turn here, there's going to be nothing filling it up, and you'll have this weird little like baggy corner there. You kind of want to keep that nice and rounded. I could be doing a little nicer job. You guys know me though. Oh yeah, we've made the toaster. I have videos on that. I love the toaster. Is that what you're making, Trolley Dolly? Oh, Tilly and the Buttons Pinafore. Is that the, did I make that one? Is it working so well? Allison, you said a question mark. Is this the binding I picked? Are we happy with this? It's okay. Okay, so you don't need to put your zipper pull on yet. And now you can see this is how it'll go. It doesn't matter if they don't line up at all either. We'll fix that. Let's not leave that pin in there. All right, so now we're on the right side. Move your zipper out of the way. And I think one thing to remember is that this is the front of the case. This side, like the front of a book. So I kind of try and start back here. It's kind of why I wanted this tail way over here. I just gotta remember how I do that. So I take two fingers and I push this away from the corner. You don't want to catch it. You also don't want to damage your zipper teeth if you do. And so now I don't pull too hard, but I try and keep this rounded with this. And when I've been practicing a lot, it actually looks really nice. Grab my zipper. I'm actually grabbing it like this and just kind of making sure it's still out of the way. Grabbing all those zipper teeth, keeping it nice and flat right there. Pulling that over. I think I got a little tuck. I don't mind a whole lot of tucks in my binding, but it does become kind of a little personal quest when I'm sewing a lot of these to have nice, smooth corners. But you can see that this is the stitch line that I just sewed the binding onto here with the, oh, what did I just say? A complete sentence. This stitch right here that you're seeing is the one I just sewed the binding and the zipper to the case. So as long as my little fold is just past that, it doesn't matter if it's like not going up to there when you fold it back, because it's stretchy. So you can kind of fold it just past, pull it just past that with your awl. Doesn't damage it. So. Liza, that's funny. Oh, that's awesome, Charlie Doll. I'm glad. That was a cute little jumper. That was the adult one, right? Because I made one for kids, right? I think I'm getting them confused. I can picture both. I didn't get to keep either of those because they were for Hearts Fabric. So then it kind of escapes me. I forget things I've made. I'm like, oh yeah, we made that. I just don't have it in my closet. So you see, like right here, I have a little tuck. That is the back of the case, so will we worry about that or not, right? But look at that one. That one looks pretty darn good. Seamer. Oh, drink. It's drink, Ray. Yeah, Michelle knows. Hi, Michelle. How's it going? So I think this is always the trickiest part, these little corners. So I'm pulling it, but at the same time, right when I'm trying to get nice, smooth corners like that one I kind of lucked out on, or my skill did it, right? I kind of back off. Because if I pull too much, you'll get the tuck. And then I kind of push my awl to kind of make this all nice and relaxed. Just like that. Make sure all my zipper coil's away. And the same thing, how you did 2 stitches to angle the corner. You want to do the same thing when you're doing this step here. Same 2 stitches. All right, this is my front of my case. Usually we would have a fabric with a motif right here, so you'd know that was the front of your case. Made it a little easier when you grabbed your case to open it, which was the front and the top. Because we know, because we made them, that the zipper is always on the bottom and how it opens, but that's, you know, not necessarily everyone else's natural way to pick it up and open it, and you don't want all their stuff to dump out, because then they're just mad at you, you know. When did I used my seam ripper to remove tags though? Wasn't it a mistake? Or did I? Oh, I did have to do it right here. That's right. So when I get here, sorry, I'm doing this without thinking. I just kind of tuck all this in there, and sometimes if it's a lot, like this is kind of a lot of overlap here, I tuck this one in first, and I do it a little shallower than it wants to be, so that I'm making room for this to go around it, and then I turn that. And sometimes it's not perfect, but the awl is going to help me out here. The awl makes everything smoother for me. And it's just practice. I know I'm making it look easy. It's just, literally, it's just practice and doing it over and over and over and getting a sense of how the fabric handles. And then, you know, getting experience with different fabrics for binding, because some bindings act a lot differently. Oh, really, Michelle? You got a new puppy? Congratulations. I got a little bit of torquing right here. See if I can smooth that out a little bit. This is okay. My stitching is showing right here. That's not okay with me. Can you see that? Some stitch. I know I have the autofocus off. That right there, I would like to fix. I'm more okay with, you know, something like this than I am with stitches showing. And it's really rare that this is the thing I have trouble with. I'm trying to think, what was the thing I always had to fix if I had a problem? I think for everybody, it's just how you sew and what it is that you're guilty of doing consistently. And like I say, I'm a puller. I pull things really tightly. So it's, you know, leads to issues. I've gotten better about it. I like things really smooth and tight on the product, but you don't have to pull to get that. Yay, you got it. Exactly. I always remove my stitches when I do, you know, remove something. Okay, now we'll try and get our back stitches in there. Don't pull too hard, otherwise you get kind of an endless loop of pulling your threads. I watch a lot of streams on my phone, Walter, and my only problem with it is it's hard to chat. Because then you got to turn it 90 degrees again, pull up the chat window. I don't know. You don't have to respond. Because it's a pain, I know. Get rid of your threads, and then no one will ever know. All right, so now to put the zipper on. So this is the one thing I think that took the most training. Anytime I'm teaching someone to do this is, you know, you're going to pull your zippers out of here. And what I do is I line up my corners. And I kind of, like, you kind of want these corners to be directly one above the other, right? And a lot of your cases when you first start this won't be. It'll be a little bit like this or whatever. Even if you get one perfectly on, maybe the other one isn't. So then you need to kind of split the difference when you're kind of new. And then I'm going to pull my zipper tape out and then I cut it the same. This feels weird. I feel like I haven't done this in so long. I need to leave myself a little bit since I'm kind of out of practice. You want these two edges where your coil is to be lined up for your zipper slider. And you want to get this on as even as possible so that you're not pulling your case and getting it wonky. Look at that. That's really wonky. See that? It looks worse in person. Yeah, I see it. So now we know what needs to happen is this one needs to pull and probably get trimmed a little bit more. That's why I gave myself a little bit of extra, because we can still trim it once the zipper slider's on there. But once, you don't want to trim your zipper coil to the length it's going to be eventually finished at, because then it gives you nothing to play around with. This one's still not quite right. So let's pull it a little more. It could be because when I'm putting the slider on, this side's going in a little bit lower, but I know that's not the case actually. Let's see. Getting there. Come a little bit more. And when you get really good at these, you'll be good at centering it on the case. And then you'll know also that that's a good guide for how to trim your coil, the zipper coil chain. Okay, that's pretty good. So now we look at our zipper and see it's a little off center. So now I'm going to trim it down a little bit and I'm going to put a fabric tail over it. Yeah, the side menu, exactly, Walter. It doesn't know everyone's strength yet. This was a little short, especially if you're new, but you kind of want a little more. And I make these about, let me try and remember. Let's see. Is this enough? And then I'll tell you my measurement. For this coil chain, that's a little too short. Let's make that a little longer. We need a little bit to turn back. I use bias because it's really forgiving. This is 4 inches and it's cut really badly. Can you see the little jog in it? This was where the binding was folded. This was hand cut. This was definitely a personal project. I kind of bias the zipper a little to the left of the center because that would be the center, right? A little to the left. And then I turn it back. I turn it back. And then I kind of push these up against each other. I made this too short. Thanks, Ray. Just looking for some corgi action, right? Oh, I made this too short. It's really tricky. The next one will be better. God, it's been years since I'd sewn one of these. Basically, what I'm trying to do is get these against each other, right sides together, and folded back. But, oh boy, man, this side right here is just too short. I'm going to get it sewing, and then I'm going to arrange it once I have it in here. I put the case straight up. That really helps, too, to alleviate it from pulling one way or the other. All right, so let's see if we can get this fixed. Oh, boy. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That one seemed a little bit too shallow. Let's try it again. You could also make it a little easier on yourself by sewing it flat on here first and then arranging it like this, like a helping hand. You can see this is just too short over here. Phew. All right, and then this little extra, I'll just trim a little bit of this off right here. Now we pull it. See, when you sew it first, like I did to get it on there, this is what happens. If I don't catch that stitching perfectly, then you see my stitching back there, which I don't like. I don't know about a pin would help me here. Maybe a clover clip, but I just don't. Sometimes I need to. If I can't hold it and it stays, then I do. But honestly, pins just kind of, they don't really help me a whole lot. Just depends on if I can't hold it or not. And you're also seeing me do this after so long of not doing it, so I'm probably making it look a little harder than it is once you get the hang of it. I used to do this a different way when I first started, but it was a little bit more cumbersome. I don't even remember how I used to do that. I just do this so that you have something great to hold on to when you're opening or closing the zipper. You want enough of a tail to where the case lays flat open. So any shorter, it wouldn't. It would do this, you know? There we go. I like this fabric combo. I think it's okay. I love the color of this teal wool felt. Kind of ties it. And this right here, when you see this fabric here against other things, you realize how much yellow and green is in it. So there's definitely this kind of teal vibe. This fabric, incidentally, both of these, was by Parson Gray, who is Amy Butler's husband. That's not his name. That was the name of his fabric line. But I really liked his fabrics. They're just really interesting, simple shapes. And I felt like they were they were, I guess for lack of a better phrase, they were gender neutral. And I liked that. Put my little label here. Because there are a lot of knitters and crocheters who don't want bags and things that were overtly feminine. You know what I mean? Or there's just people that don't want just flowers and pinks and purples, you know? And so I really loved buying his I never bought hers for our things because I didn't want to compete with her. She had her own bag line. It didn't make sense, you know? She had her own bag line and she discounted it a lot. So, or whoever sold her bags did. So I was like, yeah, I'm not buying her fabric. I can get rid of this little wrinkle with a little bit of warmth. All right, so let's do one more. Does anyone here do zippered cases? I think they're one of those things where even if you're a really good sewist, you're kind of like, do I have to, you know? But once you get the hang of it, it's so satisfying because I'm getting a little bit of creeping there. The possibilities of making a zippered case to hold tools is like, there's limitless. Hi, Terry. Terry, you should have seen earlier. I asked you the other, like a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. I saw your picture of your machine in our Facebook group. And I was like, what is that? What's that thing on your machine? You were like, oh, it's a guide, right? So it's something like this, right? So it like stays a certain distance away from your presser foot. So I used this one from my home machine the other day and I taped it with Scotch tape. So I think I need to take a leaf out of your book. Is that the page out of your book? What do you take a leaf out of? Page out of your book. And get an attachment like that. Come on, Ray. But I haven't been really making mistakes per se. Ray just wants to use commands today. Okay. Let's do this one a little better. So it is this one. All right. You just got to remember how long you made your zipper too to know how much to hang off. when you're buying this stuff, it's really cheap. Like Zipper by the Yard is the most affordable way to go about putting zippers on things. As long as you don't need a separating zipper or it to be finished on either end. You can put it into things and finish the ends. So I loved using it. It can be a little limiting in color if you don't have the buying power to get all the colors that you want. Because they come in, it's like 200-yard bundles. So when we started getting cream colored zipper tape, it was a big day. We were pretty excited that we had another color option. But I always liked black because it was so, went with everything. I'm getting rid of these little threads, putting them towards my seam. There's like threads right here on that end. I'm just sewing some unfinished things. Uh-oh, I'm going to run out of binding on this. I have a ton of it. I just didn't sew it all together. That's what I'm up to today, Terry. Really? Oh, cool. How does it attach to your machine? Oh, I think I have long enough. I also want to... Have you tried your buttonhole attachment? How do you like it? Oh, I ran out of bobbin. Shiver me timbers. Oh man, I unthreaded my whole bobbin winder thingy. I have to do this, otherwise we'll run out of a bobbin later and I'll be really mad I don't have one. So there we go. I don't know how I did that. I wasn't looking when I grabbed it, so I must have grabbed it above the thing. Mockingbird. What's Mockingbird? I've read Mockingjay. Oh, you mean like wait. Wait, I do know that book title. I feel like I've read it. I might be wrong though. I think the trick with these for sure is knowing how to get these two equally spaced from the center. And this one's a little further over here, but they can still lay flat, so that'll work. You know what I mean? To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, okay. You know what? I knew that's what you were going for, and then all I could think of was, I know why the caged bird sings. Yeah, and that's slightly different than Mockingjay, the Hunger Games. Yeah, the Sewing Fairy. Oh, okay. Oh, I love that, Terry. Okay, cool. That's great. And have you tried your zipper, your buttonhole attachment? So I'm thinking like, what I would really like is to not have more machines than I have right now. And I would like to get a separate cover stitch machine. So if I get a separate cover stitch machine with my serger, then that means all that's left is zigzag stitch that I don't have. And I primarily need that for buttonholes. Yeah. I don't know about that mashup of To Kill a Mockingbird and Mockingjay. I mean, there's definitely some serious undertones of anarchy in a like destroy the establishment kind of way in Mockingjay. Oh, really, Terry? Is it a quick thing, or is it like it takes you a couple minutes to put it on? Yeah, it is, Ray. Totally. Excellent book. Am I forgetting anything? You know, the other thing you have to worry about making these is making sure you don't put the outside on upside down to the inside. And that happens way too much. You have to pay attention, Eliza. Do you want tips on how to do this, Eliza? Yeah, right, Terry? I know. Because they're mostly for industrial settings, right? I wonder if Adina will get one. Yeah, Liza, that's what Terry has. And I think it was Adina who told me about those to begin with. And I think it was before I chat with her in a live chat. And so I was starting to be like, okay, I just don't believe this. And then she sent me a video link. I was like, oh, whoa. Really, Terry? Oh my gosh. So where do you like to shop for presser feet attachments for your Juki? Do you just search the web or are you going through your dealer? I'm going to talk to my dealer. Ooh, I'm so excited. We need some more stuff like that around here, huh? I like to say that I'm really simple and I have a really basic setup and I don't do all the bells and whistles, but you guys probably don't think that's true, do you? I realize, like, from the outside, that probably is not what it looks like. I'm just used to having all the things I have. Yeah, Michelle, I love having a cover stitch. My machine does it. I just don't want to convert it, and I haven't been liking how it's doing it lately. But the serger part's great still. And I feel like that might be a really affordable way to have one. Rather than getting 2 new machines, I'll just get 1 new cover stitch. Oh, Ray, yeah. I don't think Nancy knows that you're in a race with her to get your bins done. I'm sewing mine. I have 6 cut out that I need. I had 7, but I decided to release myself of the obligation of sewing the 7th one because it was just going to be, it was for one of the videos and I ended up not needing it. And I was like, well, we'll just sew it and sell it. And I'm like, I don't even want the burden of selling this. Probably no one's going to buy it. And so I released myself of the obligation. This one kind of comes up a little high. Look at that. It's still in there. If I line up the Velcro, it's a little better. This was a cool book that I was in. It was it's called So Red, Raising Awareness for Heart Disease in Women. Really, Terry? You've only printed the patterns here. Yeah. Did someone ask what cover stitch is? Oh, I'm sorry, Nancy. Cover stitch, yeah, the hem of a t-shirt is the perfect example. So it's got 2 needles stitching, 2 parallel lines of stitching on the outside of the garment. And on the underside, it looks like a serger, kind of, but it's flat to the garment. At eBay? Okay, that makes more sense. Oh, what else could we get? I mean, I don't even want to tell you guys this, but I sold my machine with the binding attachment. I should have taken the attachment off and saved it, but I didn't have a throat plate for it. And so, you know what? I actually probably did have a throat plate for it. Oh, I didn't have the right foot. I didn't have a foot for feed dogs. I didn't have the right feed dogs to give him to setting up standard, because the feed dogs with the binding attachment, they're split. They look different. So this is, so you put your necklaces right here. I'll show you. So I don't wear a lot of jewelry except necklaces and my wedding ring. But I wear more hair things. And so I wanted to make sure I could carry a few necklaces to a show, like when I went out traveling, without them getting tangled. And this does it. Yeah, it is, Nancy. And so then you could put your hair thing, clips, bobby pins, earrings, anything, enamel pins right here. And then this same thing, rings, things that won't get clipped. And then this is primarily, and I sometimes would clip things to this too. It looks so home sew to me now, but it works so good that I actually still have friends that say, do you have any jewelry cases laying around? I love that thing. I want to give it to a friend. And I'm like, no, I don't. I only have these. All right, so I'm going to try and do this without thinking so that I remember how I did it. And this is how I did it. This is how I did it. Okay. Okay, so how I got that, when I was showing you, I was doing it like this. This is how I did it. I always turn the case upside down, line up this one corner. So theoretically, your other two corners are going to be fine, right? And there are instances where, say your case, this side got trimmed, like this edge got trimmed, and so this edge here, the length is shorter, top and bottom. Now, if that happens, you're going to have to do some little bit of centering and kind of, fussing with it when you cut your zipper. But if you're like, okay, that one, everything was pretty good, right? I didn't notice anything kind of out of whack, it's going together okay. You can just focus on these bottom two corners, and I use my knuckle to kind of push the coil up like that, line it up. I'm looking at the corner here. They're a little asymmetrical from each other, but that's okay. We're just kind of looking at, generally they're lining up. And then taking these teeth here and just making sure that they line up here. So I'm kind of pulling and lining it all up like that. And you may still need to do a little trimming after this part, but most likely it's pretty good once you get the hang of that. So then I put my slider on, and I try to put this on very evenly. It's very easy to get one side started well before the other. So I look and make sure they're, and I push it on. See how bad this unravels? You don't want to be pulling on that too much. And then you double check it, and you can see it's a little wonky. So if this one is going that way and it needs to pull down, that means this length needs to trim a little bit more. You kind of start memorizing that, and it becomes second nature. In the later years of Chicken Boots, we sold a lot of these, not jewelry cases, but tool cases. We sold, the original one was called the Mini Knitter, and it was a combo case. So it held circulars, DPNs, and it had a little tool pocket, zippered pocket like this. And that's about it. But you could use it for crochet things as well. And then we had a long, taller version of that. That was the original. And then I ended up going into making separate cases for separate tools. So a dedicated case for crochet hooks or double pointed needles, a dedicated case for interchangeable needles for knitting, and a dedicated case for circular needles. And all of them but the circular needle case were zippered. And so we sold about 100 of each of those a year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was actually kind of a lot. But it was enough to keep it in the line, but not enough that I didn't decide to farm it out. So I did farm those out at the factory. Bazinga what, Eliza? Wait, let me see. Oh, what a bummer, Nancy. That's the, Bazinga, I got it now. I thought you were trying to say that you said something as a joke. You know what I mean? Like the whole bazinga. Okay, so let's... That coat, I looked up that coat. It looks, the silhouette's kind of similar to the Sapporo. You like the kind of cocoon cozy coat. Is that a phrase? This is getting easier. If that's poking out, you want this even. because the coil, it can be a little scratchy with fabric. And if that were poking out, eventually, you'd probably, like years from now, there'd be a little hole right there. See, this one's going really good. It's a little long, but. Yeah, exactly, Ray. I actually found, so I went through all my patterns when I moved here and got rid of some, but that, unfortunately, that rack is actually pretty cold of patterns I don't want. So, I didn't really have to get rid of very many. But one of the things on there is a pattern for a hanging case. So it's a circular needle case that hangs up on the wall that people ask me for. And it turned out really good, but I could not stand how messy the circular needles were in there. I couldn't do it. So I never made it. I know people would be kind of like upset at the time if I just didn't really mention it. It also was just a little bit too much work. You're at the facings where the zipper and collar face all come together. It's really, that's a bummer. Okay. I still use my my jewelry case all the time too. Oh, it's style art, not paper cut. Casey coat, that's what it is. Huh. I wonder what's up with that. I was reading instructions recently. I won't say what pattern it was, and we ended up sewing it on camera, and I just never mentioned it. But the instructions honestly felt like they didn't quite know how it went together. They knew what you're supposed to do, and they said that in the instructions. But the way they said it, I was kind of like, that's not really enough explanation for this step. And yeah, and it was a good pattern for a stream. Which one do you like, Trolley Dolly? The chicken? This was definitely before Chicken Boots was kind of in its groove of what it made, because all these fabrics were, it was a very assorted. These weren't like this chicken fabric was never in the line. This is from a home decorators swatch thing. I ordered them for one of the, oh, there we go. I was like, what am I stuck on? I'm gonna do it this way. One of my secret weapons for getting fabric was home decorator, but they're just not, they're not too easy to deal with. They're not like, meaning they're not difficult as in like they're mean or something. They're just not used to selling fabrics the way we needed them, because they sell fabrics in home dec world for a project, like a couch. And I was like, I want, whatever, 80 yards of this. They're like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah, we can do that, So it was always a conversation. But I got a few of their sample cards. People were always mad if we didn't have a chicken fabric in the line. And I had people come to my booth more than once. Because it's usually at a show, someone will come up and be like, oh, I'm really disappointed. There's no chicken fabrics here. And like one woman stomped off. Like she was like, you know what? I really counted on a good chicken fabric here. And I don't want anything unless it has chicken. I don't know, the whole thing. The booths around me were like, what the heck was that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't just put any old chicken fabric in my stuff. There's a lot of really bad chicken fabrics out there. I think y'all know what I mean. There's a lot of bad chicken fabrics out there. And so I just didn't buy them unless I thought it was cute. And there was only 2 I ever got. And this one I just got at a fabric store, just a little bit. But it's got chicken wire binding. Oh, I hate when I do that. You can't find anyone who's... Oh, I'm sorry, Nancy. Oh, really, Nicole? Have I ever made a style arc pattern? If I have, I've made it with you guys. Wasn't there one that I made? I feel like I'm doing this one a little too far away from the center. Interesting, Barbara. I haven't made theirs as well. The Jolie. I had a friend that was really into them, but I haven't, like, I don't know, their designs are fine, but I find their designs other places, so I haven't really needed to use theirs. Like, I already had some, I don't know how to explain it. I don't have anything against it. I don't know. I just don't know about their stuff. I'm really inspired by all the pattern companies you guys shared with me the other day, though. That's been kind of fun to look at that list and kind of look up things. Trying to even out this one. I think it's sewn a little wonky. So I might start just going live occasionally at random times, just so you know. But it probably won't be like a whole sew through of a particular project. So if you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, she went live when I wasn't paying attention or whatever, don't worry about it too much. But like I think, like, for a good example, I finally got what I'm going to use to organize all my patterns. It's arriving today, like 3 days early. Go figure. And I think I'll probably do that somewhat live. I'll just probably do it with you guys and we can talk about organization. So I'll probably start doing more streams like that. But when you see it, don't think, oh no, I missed part 1 of something. You know what I mean? So you'll know when I'm doing a project. I'll let you know ahead of time. So yeah, Derek, I should show you the whole thing. It's kind of cool. It is a rooster. Where is it? So this was the swatch. Look how huge it is. Oh, it's upside down. This was the swatch, and it came in 3 colors. Oh, it's stapled up here. Wow. That's one I took, obviously. And then this tone on tone. So this just didn't work for us because it was too big. We liked big motifs, but this was way too big for a lot of our products. And it was a little too farmy. Yes, Ray, that is a really good point. So if you do want to know when I'm just live and I'm doing something spontaneous, you should click that bell. It'll tell you when I'm live. I think you can configure your notifications so you're only getting them the way you want to. The Issy knit top. Huh. Oh, because it didn't have a crew neck. Yeah. Wanted something different. Yeah, I was thinking the other day that I completely forgot about the Linden sweatshirt by Grainline. And I kind of wish I would have remembered that this past year. It would have been a really good one to sew, like, you know, with the whole everyone's hanging out at home and wanting cozier clothes. And I like Grainline. And, you know, she hasn't been able to release any patterns. I think a lot of that's pandemic related. There wasn't a lot of tissue paper out there for a lot of the people who have print patterns. And I think, you know, models and getting work and all that stuff, like just getting new patterns out was a little bit hard for some of the companies. So it would have been nice to like be kind of promote some of those companies I really like, who has said nice things to us and liked our, you know, photos of projects we've made. Yeah, it was free. I know, Nancy, exactly. Oh yeah, that Belvedere, that waistcoat. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Nancy. I could. It's just like at the time. Ooh, sometimes your teeth get stuck in the feed dogs. We just didn't do onesie twosie stuff. So it would have been so much work to sew four of something that all look different from each other, even though it's in the same fabric. Each one of them, a chicken would have been a different spot or a different colorway or whatever. Just photographing that, letting people know, and then the whole thing is, you know how when people like companies who are kind of new at something and they become really hot and everyone wants it and everything sells out and everyone's mad? That's what would happen. And I never liked that, because people get really mad, and I understand it to a point. Like, I understand being disappointed when someone's really hot and it's great for them. It's awesome, but at the same time they can't scale up immediately. So there's very few people who can kind of manage that. Sometimes it kind of kills a business, right? So I'd seen it with yarn companies a lot and bag makers. And then you learn later, they only had 7. But they had 700 people trying to get them. And now you have 693 people who are really mad. It just happened with our Harry Potter thing all the time. And in my defense, I was like, look, we made, 1,500 items. And there were 200 sales. So there was enough to go around. Certain people were just buying more things than others and stuff, so it's like at a certain point I really can't accommodate everything. We would work hard on it. There's probably more than 1,500 things, but so I would never do those onesie twosie things when we were doing really good, because it would just make people mad. But we did take fabrics like that when we did the factory at a show, and we had our sewing machines on the floor and we were sewing live custom things. We pre-cut a ton of different things. In fact, I still have a lot of those. We would pre-cut the pocket and the top and the handle of the clear wristlet, or the double top and the pocket, the zip double. I don't know if the zip double was in the line then. Notions cases. And then we pre-bound with binding, lots of things, vinyl. And then people could go, okay, there was bins, and it was like a buffet. So if you wanted a clear wristlet, you'd look at the clear wristlet buffet, and you had to pick one from this bin, one from this bin, one from this bin. And then they gave it to us, and we put it together and then handed it to them, right? And so that was great for fabrics like this. We just didn't have this at the time. So yeah, the onesie twosie things, we thought so too. We were like, whoa, look at these huge swatches. We don't even get swatches from our fabric companies. And from this company we don't buy from, we're getting these huge swatches. Yeah, that's cool, Terry. You're going to do the Belvedere? Your sons sound so dapperly dressed. They're like the best dressed kids because of you. They're big kids though, aren't they? They're not like little kids anymore. Yeah, like Build-A-Bear. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome. You know what was really funny was the next year we didn't do it. We weren't going to do that every year. We schlepped 2 industrial machines there, all of that pre-cut stuff, plus inventory for the regular stuff. It was a lot for me and Rayanne, and it went amazing. The only bad thing was I got double black eyes on the way there from a bungee cord, and she got a hole in her lip because of the same damn bungee cord. So that was our only like tragedy of the whole thing. But the whole event in itself was a huge success. In fact, we sold out of almost everything of our regular product, and our booth looked so empty because of that. And I kept spreading things out. But the sewing part of it was awesome. And the next year, when we didn't have it, people were like, oh, was that a bust then? And I'm like, no, it was awesome. People just assume that's bad because you don't do it every year. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not risking taking my sewing machines, which is my whole, like half of my factory, to a show every year. Schlepping them, carrying them into a trailer, unloading them with the oil in them and everything. I was so worried they'd get out of whack. The timing would get out of whack, from driving them back and forth. But it was really fun. Rayanne didn't go to many shows, but that one was great because she kind of feels the same way I do about going to a show. And she's like, this is great. I can be busy and it's something to do. And people talk to her the whole time or just watch. All right, this is cute. So when you're cutting these out, you got to be really strategic on your fabric, because I think a lot of us, we read left to right. You want to put your motif over there, but that's the back of the case. So on our pattern pieces, I would have a circle drawn on the pattern piece where the motif needed to be. Yeah, Terry, that would be awesome. Well, it'd be kind of cool to have new duds when they get to church, It'll be a motivator, too, to go to church. Like, ooh, I got a new outfit. Or maybe a nice school function if they're in school. Okay. Why, yes, I do put things away. I'm a very organized person, but I'm just messy. I'm organized, but I'm really messy. Get rid of all the threads. I really like these scissors for this kind of trimming of threads. You can get really close. That's nice, Terry. Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, when you're asking, I didn't get help unloading and loading. That was me and Rayanne. You have to be careful, because people think, like, especially some folks who just really want to be helpful and they don't realize, no, don't tilt the machine, There's a whole thing with it. They're filled with oil. All right. I was struggling to find fabric for this, and then when I found this one, I was like, oh, I kind of love this. I actually could give this as a gift to someone for their birthday, I bet. Someone I have in mind. Maybe I should just save all these as birthday gifts. I hate giving things to people that I made, except for my family, for Christmas. Do you guys sometimes think, like, some people think that when you give them something handmade that you were trying to save money and you're being cheap? When we all know it's the opposite. You know what I mean? The sun's coming out a little bit. Definitely getting the hang of remembering how to do these. I'm getting faster, huh? I actually really liked sewing needle cases. I didn't like it when they went wrong, because sometimes when they go wrong, oh man, they can take so much longer. And when we did our first production run with the factory, it was needle cases, kind of like this setup, but it was pockets for knitting tools that the factory sewed the outside fabric upside down on. So, yeah. Hi, Florentine. I know, it's cute, isn't it? This cat fabric. I love this cat fabric. Yeah, and they sewed like hundreds of them that way, wrong. And they couldn't understand why I kept saying that they did it upside down. And that was when I was like all hopped up on steroids, because I had this allergic reaction. And so I was really trying to be polite. My factory made some really bad mistakes in the time we worked with them. But things happen, and why it would like disappoint me a little bit, it's just like, whatever, let's move on. Like, I never was like, you did this and I want a discount. I never did that, because they didn't get paid to do all that work, and I don't get to sell all that work. So we're both out. So the like being upset about it, all it does is just drag it out, you know? And so I worked at a lot of factories. I worked at way more than these guys did, and I just would move on. But the upside down thing, it was like days before a show, and I was pretty upset because it was so illogical to me that they would sew the outer fabric upside down. And I was like, and I couldn't think of a way to describe it without sounding like I was being really patronizing, because it was so obvious to me. I was like, well, you know how you read a book? Like, I was trying so hard not to be upset. I was like, you don't read a book upside down. Like, you read a book like this, you know? It was awful. I was not one of my finer moments. It was one of my finer moments, because I was holding it together, because I was so loopy from those dumb steroids. And they just were like, but that's how you gave it to us. And I was like, I did not give them to you like this. I was like, why do you keep saying that? And then they showed me the samples they made to time them for pricing them out. So when they gave me the prices that they quoted me, I brought them a bunch of cut pieces and a sewn sample in like 4 different stages, written instructions, all the pattern pieces. Like, you give a whole package when you do this. It's like a whole thing. You can't just hand someone this and go, how much? You know, like, it's a whole thing. And they gave me my price. They showed me the sample. I'm like, yep, that looks great. That sewing's great. And they had a bunch of them. And they were like, all right, we're just going to save a few. And I'm like, that's fine. They weren't like sellable because there was this mismatch of fabrics. And they saved all these ones with the outer fabric upside down. And that was their thing. And I was like, I've never seen those cases. And I didn't approve the way you did the fabric, because you did the fabric wrong anyway. You didn't keep the fabrics together how I had it. The whole thing. Then they were finally like, oh, I'm like, ruined. And that was such a good, that season we had, I think 4 new fabrics, plus we had all our continuing fabrics, and it was a good season. And I had so many people saying, are you ever going to have this back in stock? Because they only did probably 10% of it correctly. It was so disappointing, you know? All these little foxes sleeping in a bed of flowers upside down on cases. And I was like, all right, maybe I put the box under the table. I just couldn't even look at it. Neither could Rayanne. She was livid. Because it's like, okay, we finally let go of doing this, and then they do it like that. You're like, you don't have faith in anything, you know? And so one day when she wasn't there, I got the box out, and I was like, I just really need to figure out how to get this fabric back. Like, I need the fabric, you know? If I can maybe fix these cases, you know, and I could have a few more. And I tried taking them apart, and it took me like an hour to take each one apart. I had to throw them away. It was so sad. It was bad. I couldn't sell them as a second. I didn't want those in the world. I think I donated them actually. But still. Anyone has a product line knows that pretty much the one thing that's always your biggest frustration is making the product. So, time is it. You know, I was hoping that my stream would say the up time. And it doesn't. I wonder if there's a way to put a counter on my OBS. Huh. Because I really want to start adding timestamps as I go. You know? And I could write down the time, but I can't see the time. Yeah, right, exactly. I only have one more of these. And then maybe I'll do one bin. And we'll call it. I got my fabric in for the bags I'm making that kind of kicked off that design and manufacturing series. And I'm going to cut those this weekend. So that's my priority after the stream today, is to make a marker for that, which will just take me a few minutes. But I need to make sure I do it because I'm going to cut it out at home because the tables are there. These little kitty cats. You see the little blue bow occasionally. Pretty cute. When I go out of my office now every day, and over there somewhere are some turkeys, and they gobble. And not because of me. Something over there sets them off. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. I get this as close down as possible. And then I just trim my coil to fit. Looks like there's a couple people that have that Decades of Style dress, which really surprised me. So that's kind of cool. That'll be really fun. Okay, wait. I think I came up with a better way of doing this towards the end, and now I can't remember how that was. Oh, it's this way. Okay. I'm also trying to keep it under the camera. Oh, lint on this one. It's cute. This fabric turned out as good binding. It's kind of interesting. One more. What do we think about these dandelions? And then I have black. Oh, I have to change my thread color, so maybe I won't do this one. So it's going to be like this. I think the black helps. You know, and black binding with the white fabric is good because it's the corners that always get dirty. So I'll change my thread and do this one later. I think that'll work. It just seems so white compared to the inside. I'm gonna think about that one actually. All right, cool. Put my binding away. We'll do a bin. All these rolls of binding. So, I have these bins. Yeah, that butterfly is good. The fabric it went with was so good. It was so good, we cut it and sewed it for so long. Ran hates it. Oh, really, Barbara? Oh. That's cool. Do you think she made it, Barbara? Okay, so I measured this. I want to cut these 6 1/4. We would sometimes, if the fabric was good, we would just keep cutting and sewing it until they stopped printing it. And then in later years, they would stop printing things really soon. So I had to start buying more to begin with, which was always such a risk, you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm pretty sure I have 6 of these here. Put that away so I don't use it. There's my binding. In a very loose coil. I put it on this, so, you know. She made all her clothes. Yeah, don't you think sometimes the decades of style patterns do look like they were patterns from their era? I had a client that did that, took vintage patterns and made them into modern sizing. It was hard. That was hard work. Okay, so I need a bottom and a lining, an outer and a lining, and then I need 5 of these. I'm pretty sure these are all the same size. Oh no, maybe not. This particular bin was the same size of like sides and front and back. Okay, these are the sides and that's the bottom. Okay. If you're new here, this is a pattern that I designed. You have to go, Una. Nice. See you later. Have a good dinner. Oh, really, Michelle? Have you made them? And I cut a bunch of these out for my own bedroom because I have all these built-in shelves, and I've been using the ones you get from Target, you know, and they're all different colors, and I just wanted something nicer. So enter how I came about with making the bin pattern. You can make them collapsible or non-collapsible with a clear front or a solid front. There's even a lid, which I actually use as a tray sometimes, that pattern. And you can make it in your fabric, and then they can match your house and look really good. So yeah, I bet that bathing suit is cute. That's why I'm wondering if you made it. All right, so the bottom goes under here, and they come with videos and all that. I've sewn these a lot on camera, so you technically don't have to buy the video. This is the only pattern I have where the video is separate, so the pattern's actually really cheap. It's like $6. I love this house print fabric. I love house print fabrics. Okay, what I need to do is, I don't need to center this. I haven't sewn one of these in a while either. I just want it close so my presser foot can ride along it. I'm just going to sew one of these through just because it's getting kind of like past my lunchtime. And but when I go to sew the rest of them, I'm going to do them kind of batch style. How did I used to do this? I think I used to actually sew this most of the way and then stick my in. I'm just securing this. I'm doing non-collapsible solid front. And I've got this really cool fabric. I love this fabric. I think this is Noodlehead, isn't it? Might be. It's Essex with the print on it. I love this kind of thing. This is so up my alley. All right, let's see. So what I do need is markings for my handle. And I wanted to see if they're here or not. Let's see. Sometimes I punch holes. I don't see any markings. I don't see any markings. I'm going to make some right now. Kind of measured my bins today to make sure that I do the same thing. So that I don't have 6 that are one way and 2 that are the other way. That'd be a bummer. But I kind of want to... I kind of want to stitch my handle through the stiffener this time. All right, so this is the line I just made, right? Yeah, so that's the center, and 2 1/4 down. I'm never gonna wash these. This is what I worry about. Okay. I'll just use pins. Normally I would do this in a much more methodical way. And then, yeah, so all I need is the center. All I need is the center. That's all. And then we'll try and get this nice and straight. Right? Right? I did. I remembered my lunch today. I remembered my lunch today, and I even brought a couple of extras to put in the freezer here. Those are always, the frozen ones are always my backup lunch, you know? And that's how I know I'm getting comfortable with here, because I wasn't planning on putting food in that fridge ever. I didn't know if it was like somebody's fridge, you know, but then the building manager's like, no, this is all for you guys. This whole area out here. I was like, okay. I'm a weirdo. All right. I have a water dispenser, and I really want to, what am I doing here? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to do it like this. Right sides together. Right sides together. Right sides together. I do this a little different than the instructions. I do this all in one seam so that I have one seam nice and secure. And then I don't have to stitch down to make the stiffener pocket. But I haven't made these in a while, so I'm making this look harder to sew than it actually is. All right, and then now this way. Like this. All right, and we'll make our pockets. Ooh, those notches lined up. Oh, you gotta love it when that happens and your project's been sitting around for months. Like, there's nothing better. Am I right? Heck. Okay, there's my notch. I'm just kind of... I probably could have done some things to make that for sure that would line up. Kitchenette pajamas. Oh, what does that mean? And boardwalk duet. Oh, cute, Michelle. Right. Exactly. Terry's boys come with their own fridge, I think. I'm using this notch as my guide. You could even fold it along there, and then, you know, it's a lot easier to remember. See, we'll do that. Let's make a little fold line on this one. Okay, and this one I don't need to stitch. Now it's all nice. And then let's get our stiffener. Well, actually what we can do is put our bottom on right now. Oops. I think it's so awesome when I see, like, when I know people who have sons that eat that like that. I mean, I don't know why, but a lot of daughters don't do that, you know? Like, they aren't ravenous like that. Cricket was when she was in soccer. But other than that, and I those parents are just like, literally, I can't have anything in the fridge. Like, if it's mine, they'll eat anything even if they don't like it. Homemade binding again. I'm so excited this project will be done. It'll look so nice in my bedroom. I'm still, you know, still trying to get my bedroom to not look college dorm-ish, you know. It doesn't anymore, but still, you know. I'm not very vain about my house. And so I don't spend a lot of time. Oh, see, that's right. I like this way away. I like to start way far away from the corner. So it's a little easier to position it right here. Let's see if I got it. I think I got it. I think it'll be okay. Like right now I have to buy a bunch of stuff for our house because like Molly's starting to slip down the stairs and I need to get her some like non-skid things. And I need some rugs because we don't have rugs in 2 of our rooms. And the dogs need it to be less slippery. And we need the insulation. You know, it's been cold. And I used to get so excited about that. And now I just kind of like, ugh. I don't want to shop because I'm really decisive. So that's the good part. I'm very decisive. Once I see something, I'll be like, okay, that's the right size. I'm fine with those colors. Let's do it. But I also shop for things like I do fabric. I look at it, try and see those things, those rugs next to other pictures to see, okay, is that true to color in every picture, you know? And then I get it, right? And then there's price, you know, there's all those little factors. Is it in stock? And like now I just like, is it going to be in stock? So much stuff's out of stock now. And is it gonna fit and all that? I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, I'll get new rugs for the, you know, are they gonna match everything? I don't know. Sometimes I just get it because I like it and it doesn't really go. Yeah, right, Ray? Oh, I have specific hiding spots when we went through that phase. Yeah, and when she kind of grew out of that, like stealing my stuff and eating it without asking, just like the whole forgiveness later thing, I started finding it was like a squirrel, you know, I started finding little like, oh my gosh, look at, here's my Halloween candy from last year. And here's my Thin Mints. And you know, my ploy with the Thin Mint thing was I would leave a package in the box that was like 3 left. So the box was still in the freezer, so it still looked like, because if they weren't there at all and she knew I had bought them, she'd be like, where'd she hide them, right? So the trick is to put a dummy box out. So then they're like, oh, wow, this is all that's left, you know? Same with hot chocolate. I don't want it very often, but I like sprinkling it on vanilla ice cream sometimes. And I have like 1 packet open and I'm using it for 4, you know, ice creams. So I want it to be there. And so she would use that. I'm like, dude, that's my open packet, you know? So. Oh, yeah, Terry. Mr. 13. So your boys are 13 and 19? Oh. You have 3 boys, right? Wait, maybe not. I'm just really glad that Thin Mints aren't the preferred one for everybody. I didn't get any this year, I'm kind of proud to say. I love this binding. Can you guys see the texture of it? I just love tone-on-tone prints. I've been trying to experiment with designing fabrics that are tone-on-tone, but you see it has a little, like, polka dot. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, Malin, that's you saying that you have a 19 and 13. Not Terry. Oh, okay. I saw the M. Yeah, next level psyops, exactly. You know, the thing is, like, you know, being a mom, we all know it's tough. So if you mess with a treat, that's fighting words. You know, like, you're like, you know? Oh, good. This is separate. I thought these were two in together. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this through the, stitch it onto the stiffener. Does this fit? This felt small all of a sudden. Oh, maybe it goes this way. Oh, that's it. Okay. Really don't hope I have to cut any of this out again. I had to go back to the store and get more of this to have enough. Terry, that sounds so satisfying. I love it. Were any of you Girl Scouts? I was. I think for 3 years. It was fun. I liked it for the most part. I don't feel like I had like really close friends in it though. I remember me and my mom still talk about this one, especially my mom. She still talks about this one camping trip we did. I'm having trouble getting that all the way in there. Usually I have all 4 of the stiffeners in here. It's a little easier. Oh, I did catch it. Okay. There was this one camping trip where it was much colder than it was supposed to be. And we were all sleeping in this one room with bunk beds. I barely remember it. My mom can remember it so much better than me. I didn't do many of those overnight things for my kid, but my husband, he would take one for the team to do those. All right, Michelle. Game's calling. Have fun. Oh, that's cool, Barbara. Do you have something like Girl Scouts, Malin? Is it just called something else? It's basically just, you know, an organization. I think it's pretty sexist too. They teach the girls, like a lot of domestic things. Nowadays, I think it's more dynamic, and I don't really know if, oh, I didn't do that very good. Look at that. I still got this little slack in here. Do I take it out or not? I don't think I'm a bug. What I didn't like about it being on one layer is that it pulled, but being through the stiffener, I just didn't get this smooth enough when I did it. Yeah, I don't know if the Girl Scouts have been embroiled in any controversies like the Boy Scouts have been here. And my Girl Scout troop was really diverse. Your daughter was terrible from 2 to 12. And now she's great. That's pretty cool. I'm roped to being the cookie mom. Oh, man. Yeah, I think roped into being the cookie mom is exactly how that sentence always goes. Yeah, Terry, exactly. I know. I don't mind the outdoorsy part, but the whole overnight thing with my daughter, the moms never really talk to me here. I was at field trips where literally I'd be sitting near them and they would pointedly ignore me. Isn't it weird? This area, I'm like, whatever. I don't need that BS. And I was always nice. Promise. I promise. My mom did that stuff for me, but I know now she wouldn't have. She did it because she wanted... Because when it was just me and my mom, it was just me and my mom. And I didn't have my dad until I was almost 13. So when my mom got remarried, then they had 2 more kids. So up until that point, my mom wanted my lifestyle to not be any different than other kids. She wanted me to have all the same experiences and opportunities. I'm really struggling here. I have to like pull this over here. So, but now I know she absolutely would not have done all the things she did with me if she could have not. She did it purely for me, which is pretty cool. And I would do that for cricket too, but Michael was kind enough to be like, no, I'll take, he would take her on the 4-H things. And I was a 4-H leader, so I did that part. I did all the meetings. Oh, space camp. Wow. Wow. That'd be so cool. Like, I just think about all the, like, science and STEM opportunities for girls now and how that can be incorporated in experiences like Girl Scouts. That would be just so cool, you know? I'm just not putting this together the way I usually do. And I dropped my stiffener over here. Ooh, I made a mess. I need to go grab it. Hey. There we go. Usually I put all 4 of them in here. Let's move up the camera a little bit. Alright. I put all 4 and then I go around the top. And I use clover clips. That's right. I'm not a psychopath. I need clips. I'm just teasing. I know you guys probably think I am a psychopath sometimes. Okay. I always have my clips out for this one. The cookies used to taste so much better when I was a kid. You know? For things like this, when you have to seat things in there, pull really hard. Pull harder than you think. Really get it in there. And don't let it bow or anything, but it'll be nicer. Especially with the bin. I loved the handcraft stuff too. My mom was always really creative. She was a nurse, you know, when I was growing up. And she was always really creative. I loved the merit badges. Oh my gosh. That kind of thing is so Sarah me, you guys. Give me a task any old day. Literally, if one of you emailed me and was like, Sarah me, we have this really big thing coming up, and the school really needs 25 name badges. All right, I'll pick them up. I'd be like, okay. I am so task oriented. And it's funny because, anytime I'm a part of a school or anything and they quickly realize I can get stuff done, And I had to be one of those people that learned how to say no. And people would get really upset. And I'm like, look, I can't do all your everything. You got to have more parents involved, And it's so true. It's like 2% of the parents do 98% of the work. And so, but I would say if you have a specific task, like if I don't have to come and do meetings or reach out, but you need like 50 things made, just ask me and I'll do that. And once people would learn that about me, they'd be like, oh, okay. And I would be doing way more work than those people, but I wasn't comfortable with doing the whole leading a meeting and I was on boards. I was on the preschool board. I was on the Chamber of Commerce. And what was the other one I was on? So it's not like I don't do things, but I like tasks. And those merit badges, that's my love language. My friend Chris and I, oh my gosh, she had a pool, and we would, how you could design your own merit badges sometimes? So we'd be like, what if we bobbed in the pool for 100 times? And then you have your parent out there going 1, 2, 3, 4. Where'd my box of thingies go? Are they about to fall off my... Oh, here they are. Okay. Whew, I was a little worried they're about to fall off the back there. I have half of these at home and half of them here. I like to get these little corners straight there. They really want to poke up. Sammy Badger binding. Oh yeah, I love it. I'm still thinking about, I was really gung-ho on buying fabric to, this one needs to be done, to make into binding, but I'm a little nervous about having to sell something. Yeah, I still have my sash somewhere. That would be kind of a fun thing to have out. When it started becoming kind of a trend to sell merit badges, I bought the Fancy Tiger sewing and knitting one, and then I was like, nah, we're not going down this rabbit hole. Right, Terry? Exactly. Oh, that's cool, Eliza. Yeah, Cricket wasn't into it either. But she wanted to do 4-H. And they didn't have it at her school in Humboldt, but I was like a club leader there. Just because I was asked by the school, like, hey, would you mind doing this like thing, and you just have to go do this and that, and then you're considered a leader, and it's like not a full-blown leader. And then what I could do was have kids out to look at our chickens or be at our orchard, and we press juice or whatever. And then they would bring the after-school program. So it wasn't like an organized 4-H thing. And then when we moved to Chico, like the second week of school, the girl she met, who she's still friends with, said, hey, I'm in 4-H. You want to be in 4-H? And I think that little girl was just like, oh, my mom makes me do this 4-H thing. It'd be nice if there was another kid I liked there. She knew all the kids. She was well-liked, that girl. But she also was probably like, oh, she didn't want to be the only one in her class doing it. It's like that whole thing of like, oh, I don't want anyone to know I'm doing this. So they did that together. And that girl did it through high school. Cricket did it through 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. That's it? Wait, we moved here in 5th grade, right? Yes. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. She did it for 5 years, which is kind of a long time. And I love 4-H. 4-H is really good. Yeah, it's amazing. I have to admit, like, I don't think I've ever really, anyone ever really knew. Like, Cricket kind of was done. Like when she got to high school, she was like, I want different high school experiences. I don't want 4-H to be my primary thing. And I was like, that's cool. You can do whatever you want as long as you're doing something. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to get into this, but yeah, we ended up, it was a good time for her to be done with 4-H at the time. And I really liked it. I think it was really great. And there were definitely, you know, I would have to convince her to go sometimes. But for the most part, she was pretty into it, you know. Yep, the Bone Project. I want to see your... We'll have like a little thing you have to bind. I'll have some merit badges made just for binding. You know what I really love lately is how many people are really liking that collar and collar stand video. Was there just not any out there like that? I'm going to do one for shirt sleeves and plackets. It's all ready to go. I just haven't recorded it yet. I moved. So I think that'll go really well with that video. So that's another little skill. Just kind of straightening this edge out. Consistent, and then I'm all done. It's got to do my last stitch. Got to do my binding. Oh, Ray's like, only one? Okay. Oh, Eliza, that's awesome. Yeah, and Cricket didn't do, well, she did a show rabbit, but we didn't do any livestock, and a lot of people don't realize that 4-H isn't specifically livestock. It's just kind of a good project, you know. She did photography, sewing. I didn't do the sewing one. I did knitting though. Public speaking, being a leader, like she was a junior leader. Her show rabbit. Fairy gardens. Backyard chickens. Can't remember what else. What else did she do? She did photography for probably 4 out of the 5 years, which was a really good one. And it was a good leader. And then she would do the like local things like Foods Fiesta, and you have to make a dish and do this whole presentation, and then they give medals out, and it goes in your record book. The record book is the thing about 4-H that's kind of the pain, because nobody keeps up on it all year long. Oh shoot, I just got way off. Sometimes things push me away. Here's a mistake. Now we drinking. So I bought some snacks at like Rite Aid. And for those of you who don't have Rite Aid, it's like a Walgreens, CVS. It's just like a place where they sell all the convenience items you need in your life. You know, everything from toilet paper, prescriptions, makeup, all that stuff, you know. And they have like snacks. And so I was there getting one thing, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get snacks from my office. I have a little room for that. And I bought these cookies, and they were peanut butter sandwich cookies, like from like a, you know, oh, what happened here? Oh, nothing happened here. Okay, there we go. Like a, it's organic or whatever, you know? And then, I had one yesterday, and oh my gosh, you guys, they were so good. They were like what Nutter Butters used to be like. They're so good. I was like, I can't just eat 2. A cutting badge, a hemming badge, a welt badge. I haven't even sewn welts with you guys, really. I think Terry's already got her welt pocket badge. She's the pro here. I need her to do the video, and I'll just say, look at her do it. Daughter took laundry. Wait. Yeah, it's about managing a project. 4-H's. The base where you drug your parents was drum corps. That was cool. And Sammy can make all the badges. Eliza, wait, your daughter took what? Not laundry. What is that? What word did that autocorrect? Binding club. Oh, you guys are making me want to order fabric for binding. I really just need to do that. I think I'll be unhappy if I never do it. I need more binding myself. Okay, one bin down. Ooh, a little slack right there. Come on. Why are you looking like that? I think one of these pieces of stiffener got a little munched. Yeah. And then this is what is on my shelves. This one I could probably iron a little bit. It's pretty good though. Oh, a laundry course? Wow. Hi, Adina. Yeah, 4-H is essentially about managing and presenting a project. It can be about anything. As long as, and so like if you have a good 4-H club, and there's plenty that just have it so that they can show animals at the fair and do that whole thing. And that's a whole other discussion, because there is a lot of money for some of those kids to do that, because people are really generous and bid on their animals at the auction, the 4-H auction. So there are clubs that just do it for that, so they can do that, you know, not for the money, but it's also, it kind of is. It's great for the kids, great for college education and stuff like that. But if you're in a 4-H club that's really good and kind of knows all about it and everything, if a kid is new there and they said, hey, I really want to learn how to tie rope knots, or I want to learn how to do cabinetry, they will say, all right, we're going to try and find you a leader. And then they look for leaders to lead a project in that specific thing. They're supposed to. And they look amongst the leaders that are already there. And some leaders are like, well, I actually have a little experience in that. I can do that. It doesn't have to be like this. You don't have to be a master at it. You just need to be able to keep kids engaged and busy and doing it. So he's a laundry course. I mean, honestly, laundry is so hard. I didn't know how to do it when I moved out. That's so funny. All right, so what did we get done? Let's see. I can barely roll on this rug. Ugh. Yeah, these little cookies, I'll show you. You guys want to see what the cookies are? I've got them here. I gotta know the name of them. These. I'm telling you, they taste like Nutter Butters used to taste, or how they should always have tasted. Really good. The only problem with them is 2 is a serving size. That's awesome, Terry. My mom did that with my brother and sister when I moved out, and I was hopeless at laundry. She said, oh, I'm not making that mistake with Brett and Laura. So they knew how to do their laundry when they moved out. So I got, what do you think of the lighting? Is it okay? This is kind of natural. I got 4 cases, jewelry cases done, a pocket bucket, and a bin in 3 hours. I just have 5 more bins to do. That was pretty quick though, right? I could get those probably done in the next hour. And then I'd have all my bins. Oh, that's so motivating to think that. Except I don't really like this wrinkle. See this fold? Make sure my others don't have that before I sew it. At least that's not on the front. Yay! Okay. That's awesome, Malin. We had something like that in junior high. Home ec, where it was like a quarter of sewing, a quarter of cooking, and what was the other quarter? I don't even know. My husband had to do a lot of that stuff for him and his brother growing up. To kind of, he knew all that. Yeah, she is. She's in Sweden. Edina. Right, Malin? Sweden? How long does it take to learn laundry? You have a son that's 15, Walter? Aw. I love that age. I mean, I love teenagers. I actually love teenagers. I think it's a really cool age. And they're so much better to the world than they are to the parents. Knitting, sewing, woodwork. I thought woodwork was our other quarter. Yeah, she's late. She's not late. FFO. Wait, what's the rules part? Yes, FFO rules. Wait, is it this? Wait. Can I? It's this, right? I don't even know. Yeah, Dina, they did like junior high, but that was it. And then in high school, they had sewing, and then it left eventually. You haven't changed summertime. Yeah, you guys have time change there, huh? We're planning on getting rid of it, I hope here. I hope so. So next week I'll be doing the New England 1940s New England dress. Yeah, Eliza, that's so awesome. Yeah, he is, Walter. That's awesome. I think like I do come across some pretty toxic kids on PlayStation, but I think a lot of them are really trying to fit in with their friends, and I do call them out, especially because they will say racist things, and it's bad. And I'm like, shut up. I'm reporting you. I report them all, and I talk to them. And when you do that, when you confront kids like that, usually it helps all the other people in the lobby that are hearing it start speaking up. And then by the end, sometimes a lot of them come around. But I don't tolerate that crap at all. That's the only thing about the teenagers I encounter online. Adina, are they organic? I think it's fake health food. No hydrogenated oils, no high fructose corn syrup. And it's got wheat flour, peanut butter, and whole grain rolled oats. But I'm telling you, these taste so good. They were until 21. Well, I mean, I only have one, and so they can't, like, my daughter can't gang up on us with a sibling, and she was a handful. Yeah, Nancy, exactly. When I was in junior high, they let me do wood shop. Let me. I made a sanding block. Okay. See, I love that, Eliza. Yeah, exactly. That's me too. I always said, hang out here, hang out here, hang out here, hang out here. And it would stress me out, but at the same time, it's exactly it. And we had a pool, like in the teenager. I'd be like, why don't you invite him over and I'll order pizza? And they would be more into it than she was. But then, it was cool. But there was a lot of times she just was like, oh, no. Like, she eventually didn't want to have kids over, not because of us, but because she wanted them to go home at a certain point. But, and she didn't know how to get kids to go away, So sometimes she would be like, no, I just really want to go to their house, and then I want you to pick me up at this time. I'm like, okay, that's cool, I understood that too. And now that she drives, she does all the driving. She doesn't want other people to drive for her too. Civics, yeah, that's what it was called. We didn't have civics, but I've heard of that. As in rules, as in kills it. FFO rules. It does. I have so now all I have over there is I have the bags I'm making for that design and manufacturing project. I have the bluette dress and the Dawn jeans are in a bin. I have Shannon's fabric, the Ghastly fabrics, because sometimes I sew her things. I have making Oh, I have the slippers and the kids' pajamas. I'm considering making matching pillow shams to my Jelly Roll duvet covers, but I don't know if I'm going to do that because I think they're really, really uncomfortable to sleep on, and we sleep with ours. And then I have, the last thing I have, oh, remember how I want to do the little ped socks? The little, like, micro socks that go under sandals and shoes? I still want to make those. And I don't think I could do those without my zigzag, so that's another thing to think about. Yeah, exactly, Malin. I totally agree with you. Yeah, exactly, Nancy. Can girls join Boy Scouts? I'm fine with that on one hand, but I also think it's nice to have a space where you can, as a girl, be around other girls. Because girls can be kind of pretty tough around each other, and I think that being around each other more is good. Well, the other thing Cricket did was Young Life, which is a Christian organization. Cricket's not Christian, but she liked the camp they would do. And they have like a weekly meetup thing that was actually really cool. And she liked it because she knew nobody was going to be drunk there and nobody was going to be doing anything like that. And she just kind of liked that because it's kind of low stress, like no pressure. And it was really fun. And it would always be at someone's house and a big thing. And she went to the summer camp once. She liked it a lot. Okay, I'm gonna go eat. I got a veggie lasagna. Yeah. Wait, Shannon. Who's Shannon? Great fabric influence. I have on live chat. Did I miss someone named Shannon? I hate it when I miss. Yeah, Dina, you know, my mom said that when my brother and sister were really close in age. They're 18 months apart, I think. And they both learned to drive at the same time. And my mom was like, this was the worst thing ever of all the parenting things at the time. She got gray hair. Like my mom isn't gray like me. Like I went gray really young. That's from my dad's side. But she got a few gray hairs. And she was like, this is because both the kids are learning how to drive. Your niece's daughter joined Cub Scout. Oh, cool. Oh, Cub Scouts. Oh yeah, Shannon. Yes, the Ghastly Fabrics. Thank you. How did I space that I just said her name? Yeah, because when I said Shannon, I was picturing her Instagram handle, which is not Shannon. Yeah, Nancy, exactly. Yeah, that's a big age gap. I have a friend and a younger sister and brother. There's 3 of them. They're all 5 years apart. And I think like there's good things and bad things with all that. There's just like no perfect way to do any of it. It's all perfect. You just got to do it. Yeah, the Gaslights should be celebrated. She sent me a link recently. I think they're coming out with a new line. She goes, "Oh no, I think I need all these." I was like, oh, man. We need to get her sewing more. She sews a little, I think, but she's a knitter. All right, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for hanging out and sewing with me, you guys. So Wednesday, I'll be cutting this out. And like I said, put the notification bell on if you want to just see if I go live doing something. I am going to organize all my patterns soon. Kind of make them uniform and easy. I think I have a good idea what I want to do. Because I think I've got about 50 up there that are not hanging on the rack. And I'm also going to look at what I haven't printed out and see if I want to get any printed. And I'm thinking about updating my Trello because Trello is where I used to keep a copy of every pattern card and I don't have that updated. And so I kind of want to start making a chart or maybe a binder of all the patterns, I have. So if you're kind of interested in the organizational thing or if you have any tips, please join in them and share your tips. I'm open to anything. So cool. It was nice seeing you guys. Thanks. Hit the like, please. Yeah. Give a comment. Share with a friend. 15 likes. That's pretty good. All right. I'll see you guys soon. What do I do at the end of my new stream thing now here? I do a little ending, right? Yeah. Okay. I think so. Night, everyone. Have a good weekend. I'll see you Wednesday, maybe before. Probably before. So, see ya.